Yeah, this sheep attacked me right in the middle of this field, but thankfully I was only lightly grazed. And, oh, hello and welcome to Artisan Electrics. Nice to see you back here, my fellow YouTube friends. Come in, come in. Let's show you what we've been working on. So he's trying to earn his Blue Peter Pan badge today. Not Peter Pan, Blue Peter badge today. And that is earned by doing a secondary consumer unit. So basically, guys, plan is we're going to add another consumer unit with surge protection. This consumer unit is full. There are some spare spaces, but they're all going to be taken by heat pumps and other things that he's having installed. He's only had it installed a couple of years ago, so I don't really want to replace it. There's not really any need to. So we've got a secondary consumer unit. That'll be installing a nice Hager one. Got some surge protection as well, which will be sticking in there. That will be going about there. We'll be doing a Henley block to space, come off of the tails, out, and installing a car charger. So there's going to be some nice little tips and tricks in there for you today on basically installing Zappies, installing car chargers. We're going to be shooting as well a separate video, which we'll do separate to this one, on a real comprehensive breakdown on how we test the EV chargers using the EVSE tester, and the exact reasons why, and try and go into the regs a little bit more as well. But we'll try and brush on that briefly today, but we'll detail it more in a video. So basically, I hope you're sitting comfortably. Tool of the day, weighted blankets. It's anxious times out there, guys. I've been using one, fantastic, Koala. We'll put the link in the description below for it, for the Amazon weighted blankets, all over it, cozy, proper cozy. So get yourself a nice drink, maybe not alcoholic. We prefer it if you didn't, although it would probably sound a lot more interesting after a few drinks, I'd imagine. And enjoy the video. Right, so the tails magically popped through, and now we're going to fit a consumer unit onto them. So I'm just kind of playing around, having a little, deciding what will look nicest. I was going to go there, but I'm now thinking of going there because I think it will look better with the tails swooping out and in. And when eventually they get a bigger consumer unit, then they've got plenty of space. So I think I'm probably going to mount it just there and bring the tails in the bottom. I've got surge protection as well, which I'm going to fit. What's great with the Zappies is they have pen fault protection built into them. So when you've got a TN earthing system, which looks like this, you'll find that the electrical regs, basically, I think it's 7, give me just a minute, just cut this out, 722.3, memorise that off by heart. 722.3, you'll find all the sections on TN earthing systems, and basically for an EV vehicle you can't connect onto them without and use their TN earth, because obviously Terra neutral would go to say that if it's a TNC system, Terra neutral combined, it means the earth and the neutral are combined into one, so you're using a PEN conductor. It's also known as a PME system, polymultiple earth system. But the problem then lies if at the substation or whatever up the street they're doing switching or something like that happens, or there's a neutral fault, or they lose the earth or something, what will happen is that earth can potentially be brought up to potential. So that would mean that any metalwork inside your house, sorry, the loudest plane in the world has just decided to fly over now. They're just testing it to see how loud it is. That means that any metalwork in your house will be brought up to potential. So if you think about it, you've got a massive metal box on your drive that you're plugging into a wall socket. Oh, and another one. That's good. I'm glad to see that they're being thorough. Yeah, it's quite loud. You're plugging in a massive metal box, which has the potential to become live, obviously, because all that metalwork, the chassis, is earthed. And that also goes for TNS systems, because you might have Terra neutral separated, but you don't know that down the end of the street, especially if it's a loop service, or even if it's not a loop service, you don't know that they haven't got TNC down the street. You also can't guarantee that it will never be made into a TNC system. So for that reason, if there's ever TN as opposed to TT, an earth rod, you would always either bring your own earth, i.e. by putting in an earth rod for the Zappi or for whatever charger you're installing, or what's more common now is you have devices such as the Matti, or other devices which basically provide pen fault protection. So if your protective earth neutral is at fault, it will cut the power. So your RCD that's built into the circuit board of the Zappi, I think it's to 61008-1 or -2. It's the equivalent circuitry. Are you a cat on camera? Oh my gosh! At least you're not wolf whistling anybody. That will basically provide the same equivalent protection to a Type A RCD, which you'll see just here. All the protection that a Type A RCD will offer, which includes 6 milliamp DC protection, which again you'll find that reg, which I've memorized, in section 722.53.1.2, I think, off the top of my head, where it talks about the types of RCDs needed for EV installations. So yeah, the Zappi provides pen fault protection and RCD protection, so all we need to think about is getting a 32 amp supply to it for the 7 kilowatts. And because we're clipping direct on the surface, no RCDs needed on the actual power cable that's providing power to the charger. If we were going through walls and things, we'd think about mechanical protection as opposed to automatic disconnection of the supply through residual current devices and things. So yeah, we're going to crack on with this. Oscar's been given his apprentice hammer. It's really cute. I'm saying when he qualifies we're going to get him a real one, but we don't want to give him too much power too soon, so we're just giving him this for now. So, consume unit. I'm sorry to insult any viewers that watch this or electricians, but a lot of people that watch this are either hobbyists or apprentices. Obviously, I would not in any way, shape or form recommend that you touch your consume unit or any of your electrics really, unless you're properly competent and qualified, suitably qualified. But, well, loose connections cause fires. We've seen that, haven't we? Leave the link to another episode in that one. Good little reminder. But basically, what you've got inside here, for those apprentices that should be at college and things, but aren't at the minute because of the current circumstances, is you've got your main switch, you have your bus bar, or yeah, spelled BUS, not buzz, as I used to call it for most of my life, and a DIN rail at the back. Then you have your neutral bar and your earth bar. And how it works is you'll have your live tails, which are your supply cables, these double insulated mummers right here. They'll come into the top of this isolator here. So this isolator is not a fuse. This is purely to isolate the power. This is designed to, I think, 60497-3. Is it written on the side somewhere? Should be somewhere. I can't see it. Yeah, 60947-3. That's the BS number that you're working to on these isolators. And basically that is safely able to isolate up to 100 amps. Now we've got an 80 amp supply. So that's plenty for isolating that. What that means is anything over 100 amps, it won't be able to safely isolate it. So the power will come through there and along the teeth of this bus bar. And basically, all of your breakers will clip onto that bus bar. Oh, there we go, I'm calling it a bus bar again. Through the braking device, the miniature circuit breakers, and out to the circuit. That's where your line conductor comes from. This is as much for Oscar as everyone else. I just thought it'd be good to film it. The neutral from the circuit will go to the corresponding number. So say you've got circuit 1. The earth for the circuit will go to circuit 1 as well. My plan is I'm going to get Oscar to wire up this consumer. I'm going to do the surge protection and the tails and everything else for him. But before I connect the tails at the other end, I'm going to get him to wire it up into the circuit breaker, which I think is pretty good for an apprentice in his first couple of months. But I've got quite a lot of confidence that he'll be able to do it. So that is basically the real bare bones of a consumer unit or any sort of distribution circuit and how it works. So we'll get cracking, we'll get wiring it up, and setting up the surge protection is mainly. This surge protection, oh yeah, sorry, the neutral for the circuit comes out the bottom there and up onto the neutral bar, so that's connected on. These main switch surge protectors that Hager do, they basically clip onto your DIN rail like so, and they will go on to the actual main switch. They go into the bottom. There's a little slot at the front there which they go into, so I'm not going to put it on just yet because I haven't got the gear in that I want to get in, and I haven't got my torque screwdriver, but they just sit in front of these screws. They just sit in front of those screws there, so that when you tighten them up, when you've got the neutral conductor and things in there, it will just sit on the front of that screw, and that is basically monitoring it. So I know some devices, some surge protection devices, you need to put in a separate circuit for them, and it will take up some more ways, whereas these ones, they don't. They basically just, they connect straight in, and then you've got the little indicator there as well. If when that turns red, that means it's spent, it's been used, you need to replace it. So the live and neutral will connect on there, or the line and neutral I should say, and the earth I usually connect up. I'll put a little cable flag on it as well. I'm using a crosshead, which I know isn't really advisable, but it'll all be torqued out.
Using a flathead.
A flathead, sorry, yeah, thank you, son.
I like your screwdrivers.
Well, thank you. This is not a sponsored video, Oscar, so we're not going to mention them, but they are very beautiful. I like your blue ones. I tell you what, I've got an idea. Why don't Klein and Hager battle it out? This video isn't sponsored by either of them, but I'm going to just call you both out. If you want to be our favourite sponsors, like me and Oscar could definitely do with a holiday once all this COVID malarkey is over. We want to go on a European road trip. Think about it, right? Jordan's coolest video, in my opinion, was the one where he went to France and went to Italy. We love French people, we love Italian people, and we think that they might like us. So help the savages see Europe, right? What we're thinking is Mitsubishi, because we want a pickup truck, or Tesla, actually. Elon, I'm pretty sure you're watching this, so reach out, just DM me. I'm thinking it'd be cool to get a celebrity in there as well. I'm thinking maybe like Jay-Z's a bit too serious, but Beyonce, if you fancy it, like you feature in a lot of my playlists, just DM me and we'll get it set up. Like I'll do all the legwork. But Hager and Klein, if you want, we'll come to your headquarters in America. Klein, that would be sick. Actually, pay for me and Oscar to come to your headquarters. We'll drive there on like a land speedboat. Sorry, our cameraman as well. He's really cool. You can't see him, but oh my gosh, ladies. You would, yeah, butter wouldn't melt, but let me tell you, he's deadly. He's deadly. Basically, I'm going to stop rambling and we're just going to get down to business, which is, if you want to pay for us on a sponsored video to go on a little road trip around Europe in a motorhome and tour all the electrical installations of like France, Albania, Croatia, where else do they have nice beaches? Italy, yeah, we'll check Italian electrics. We'll check out whatever electrics you like. If you send us there as soon as COVID's over, right? So back to the consumer unit. But that is a fantastic shout, Oscar. I'm glad you remembered that. I'll show you a little trick later with using the PVC pipe to get through the wall into the back entry of the Zappi. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I was just looking for the little baby hammer. Everything's a little bit messy, just because we've got stuff for a few jobs that's been sent to us. Jordan's just sent us bits for a few jobs this week. So, yeah, there it is. Right, back to the consumer unit. Yeah, we have a lot of very persistent fans, so we find we have to use kind of more draconian measures to keep him off of Oscar mainly. People keep trying to kidnap him, but he's mine. So the plan is to go back entry onto this Zappi. So what I'm thinking of doing is I've kind of already marked it all out and prepared it. So I've got my 3 fixing holes and then a hole for this because I want it to be a watertight entry into the back. So Opinel, probably shouldn't show that on camera. It's not like a Stanley blade, but I love them. Little French knives. Great for if you're doing electrical work at 3 o'clock and then you've got a wine tasting cheese session with a Swiss princess at 4 o'clock, then you're covered, which is kind of common in the life of a Sparky. So we'll flip this one around carefully to show all the lovely brick dust that I've failed to wash off at the back. What we'll do, stick just a little bit of PVC cement. I've already cemented this shut. We'll put that just around the threads. You want it all around your finger, and you don't want to smell it unless you want to be going full Pete Doherty on us. You want to use it in a nice open space. This video was not sponsored by the Libertines. Right, I'm going to screw that on like so. I literally feel like my dream has come true and I'm a Blue Peter Arts and Crafts presenter. I'm loving it. Right, we're going to leave that to dry a little while. What can we fill the time with while it's drying? Oh, sorry. I was just on FaceTime with my family. Some other useless wombles like me. So this should be nice and dry now that we've killed that time. So the plan is to sloopity loop like a glove. Then, and hopefully the screw holes line up. Yes, they do. This guy's done it before. Right. The key is to good electrical work is the more double chins, the better. Oh, you bum. Deary me, that is annoying. I think the thread's a little bit short, really. Okay, we can fix this. We can salvage this. Obviously didn't watch. I didn't womble for long enough. I'll just screw that in a bit tighter. So that's just poking out there. All nice. It's that Zappi provide, which have the rubber washers on them on my non-magnetic bit. And screw it back. So now I can just put I'll probably put a little bit more PVC cement around that hole, maybe a bit of silicone as well, but hopefully that should dry nice and tight. And what that means is then the cable can go straight through the cavity as well, because there's a little cavity in the brickwork. And if you just come around here, Nathan, and you'll see that's the conduit popping out there. If you want it to be really fancy, put a little stop end box and things, but we're working in a garage, we're not running it in conduit, so we're just going to come out and pop it straight through there and through. And that is a nice little way to do to enter into the back of these Zappies. Great. I know people like the occasional lunch catch up. I'm really sorry to all of my vegan friends. It's not Vegan's Day. I've had a little treat. This is leftover Chinese takeaway. It looks absolutely terrible and it's probably doing some serious harm on the inside, but guess what? It is delicious. And to be fair, if you're not really fat, do you even look like a good tradesman? Like every slim, muscly tradesman I know is usually not very good, you know? So, yeah, eat up, lads. Nutritious chicken. That's it, just measure it off around that corner. This is a petition for Jordan to buy us some cable reels. There we go, one sec. Yeah, cool. We're just clipping this cable round using the Cory clips, which, as you probably can tell by now, quite a big fan of them. Just drill a little 10mm hole, then pop the clips in. They're fireproof, 18th edition compliant, and I think just look a bit smarter than the normal, ordinary type clip with the screw. A lot of our customers, seriously, know their onions. Okay, so I've been promoted to lighting guy on less of these horrible angles. Go closer to Oscar.
light isn't even shining.
Oh, well, I'm trying to like get reflective lighting rather than direct light, and I think it will soften you a bit more. So what I'm hoping is GQ catch this and we get a cover issue. But let's not get that on camera because I don't want them knowing too soon. I just need to perfect my 6-pack. So, do you remember what we said? So, into the corresponding terminal of each bar. So if you get the neutral in. I've had a few people ask what the secret is to get. Oh, my torch died. And I had one job. Never mind. Just showing Oscar the difference as well between the different screwdrivers. So this is specifically made for consumer units. It's a PZ2, but it's got these little slots in the side, these teeth. Trying to get that focused. The lighting right. Oh, there you go. So they're very slightly different, but it's just got those extra little teeth basically to get a good bite on the. I mean, obviously it's not just Hager that do them. You got a Klein one there. Is that? Yeah, that's the Klein equivalent. You've got pretty much every manufacturer will make those types, but yeah, I know some people will use flatheads in consumer units. Personally, I prefer to use the proper screwdriver that's for it. Great, well done. So that's the earth in. So do you remember where the neutral in? Do you remember where the earth is going to go?
On number 1 now.
Number 1 in the earth bar, that's right. So remember we push the slack up, so you've got plenty of slack to work with in case there's ever any mistakes or a board change or anything like that. And then if you get the height of the swoop the same height as that, so it's all nice and parallel. So do you see what I mean? So like, yeah, just a little bit longer. More slack then as well, because you can always have a shorter swoop. So if you've got that marked, that's it. Chomper. The thing is as well, you got the first few times you do it, you're going to feel very cat-handed, but you just kind of get a feel for it. That's why it's better you do them sort of straight away and early and get better. And I'm aware that I'm massively dropping him in on the deep end, doing his first ever consumer unit in his first ever couple of months on YouTube, but I think he's capable, so it might be easier if you want to cut closer, just use those. That's it. So it's 4mm that we've actually got, that we've actually run in. That's it, nice job. Now for the live on the line, and get your breaker installed. So do you remember how you clip that onto the DIN rail? So that's already pulled out, so make sure that's backed all the way out, which it looks like it is. So you should be able to just slip that onto the DIN rail and then clip the little clip up on the bottom. There we go, lovely. And then if you back off this screw as well, you can get the bus bar fitted in. If anyone worrying about safe isolation, these tails are going outside of the wall and they're not connected onto anything yet. So unless some phantom electrician is coming connecting them for us, which to be honest I probably quite appreciate, it's dead. So yeah, that's it. It actually goes that way round, I believe. Let me have a look at that myself now. Yeah, that way round. So if you hold that, you can fix that. We'll talk it out if you just get it pinched up for now. We'll just check it. Make sure it's definitely bit. Does that look good to you?
Yeah.
Looks good to me. Happy days. So that's all nice and tight. And we, like I say, we use our Torx screwdriver. We use that at the end. So you want to connect on to the top of that miniature circuit breaker there. So you can basically push all the slack down behind the bar, and then when you're ready you can chop it and put it into place. And what I'd usually do is I line it. Yeah, leave as much as you can leave in there. Usually I'll try and be as generous with the slack as I can. So like if you see that's almost touching the floor, I'd line it up on the side there. I know it needs roughly that much to get in, so I'd probably chop it there now, strip it, and then you can just slide it across, because if you measure it up like that and cut it, by the time you bend it back, it'll be too long. So if you line it up as you want to. In fact, do you know what? We'll double it over. Sorry to be a pain. Do you want to hold that for a sec? This is another little tip. If you've got a smaller cable like this, what you can do instead of getting it right is we'll just double it over like that. And it just makes a little bit more to bite onto. Just looking at it there, it looks a little bit, yeah, so that's perfect. So basically you want it to be just so that you're not biting onto insulation, but also so that you can't see any copper. And then I'll just bend it in like that, and then you're spot on. So do you want to nip that up? Lovely. So that is how you'd connect into the consumer unit. So we'll connect up these tails now on the other side. We'll torque it up, we'll test it, and then we can connect up the Zappi. So we've run the cable along, down, out here, through this piece of PVC pipe, as we demonstrated earlier, and into the Zappi. So catch you soon. Right, so we've used an absolutely obscene amount of silicone, because that's the only amount that I feel is appropriate to ever use. So we've taken this out, siliconed around the pipe as we've slid it in, and we just put some more around here. We just need to get some big wipes and have a bit of a clean up. So that's this wired in, we've tested it, we've got all our test results. We're actually going to do a separate video which will outline just a complete breakdown of how we test the EV chargers. They're really straightforward to test, but I know if you're not doing it all the time, or if you've not done it at all, some people might be curious to the little nuances that will come up with these specific units. So we're going to outline how to test that in a separate video. But for now, that is it installed. So what we'll do is we'll get it powered up, we'll get the Harvey and everything linked up, get the hub set up, and we'll come back to you shortly. So we're here, we're finished. We've got our secondary consumer unit on, all labelled up, lovely, lovely, with test dates and things. I personally hate seeing handwritten test labels. Sometimes you have to, but when I can help it, I'll always print them out. Give them a little snippety snip with the scissors. So that is all done. Cable is run round, and then outside here onto the EV. Lovely. So that concludes today's episode of Artisan Electrics. So if you really love self-deprecating humour, really noisy aeroplanes, remember, it's not just any dirt. That's Cambridgeshire dirt. In some places, some parts of the world, they pay serious money for that. So if you want to see Cambridgeshire dirt, come back, yeah, subscribe. See you soon.